If you're an archer and you're having a hard time getting your arrows to land in the middle of the target when you aim in the middle, this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to adjust your sight so that way your arrows hit right behind the sight pin and group right in the middle where you're aiming. Welcome to Archery Basics Explained, where I break down the fundamentals of archery into easy to follow bite-sized formats. And today we're talking about the sight, how to properly adjust it so that way you can get your arrows grouping in the middle when you aim there. I can't tell you how many new archers that are aiming off, not putting the sight pin in the middle of the target. They're aiming in a different place, like maybe the blue to the left, to get the arrows landing in the middle, and they don't know that's wrong. Unless it's very windy, you should be aiming in the middle to make your arrows go in the middle, and sights are adjustable for a reason. I'm going to show you how to adjust the sight so that way your groups can move and go in the center of the target. And the principle is very simple. If you're aiming in the middle and your arrows are landing somewhere else in a group, or at least consistently landing in that area, all you do is follow the arrow with your sight pin. In archery, we adjust the front sight, and that means if you're grouping low and hitting below the center of the target, you move your sight pin down to make the bow go higher or the arrow go higher, and that's how you adjust your groups. So, if I were to be hitting low and I needed to move my sight pin down, if you look here at this sight here, there is a set screw on the side here that you would adjust, loosen, slide the pin down, and tighten it back up, just like this, if I were to be hitting low. Now, if I were to be hitting high, I'd loosen the set screw, move it up, tighten it back down, and I just adjusted my group on the target. How much you have to adjust your target varies dramatically from archer to archer, as well as how far you're shooting and the type of speed your bow is actually shooting arrows at. So don't be afraid to try moving your sight. Start with small amounts first, and then go from there. The front of this sight has graduations on it, as you can see, with different numbers indicating different positions. And you could make a note saying the top of this sight block is at 2.6. So if I were to move my sight, say, down to 3, I just moved it 4 lines. I can shoot my arrows and see if the group moved, how much it moved, and then I'll be able to make some very basic calculations or guesstimates as to how much to move my sight to make the groups go in the middle. That covers up and down movement. What about left and right? It's very simple. It's the same exact principle. It's just a different way to move the sight. Again, if the group is to the right, I would move my sight pin to the right. If my groups are to the left, I move my sight pin to the left. This is one of the only things in archery that is the same no matter if you're right or left-handed. You always follow the arrow, no matter what, to make the arrows group in the middle. So, if I wanted to move my sight pin to the right, I just take this knob on the side of the sight where the sight pin goes through it. If you're not sure which direction it moves when you turn the sight, you can actually watch it and start to make some adjustments. I'm going to go 1 half turn, another half turn, and as I'm turning it, I'm seeing it's moving to the right. I can go back those 2 half turns and make the sight go back to the same place. The general principle when moving this kind of sight pin is if you were to look at the pin and look at the adjuster from this position, from your position, if I were to look at the top of the knob, if I turned it clockwise, the top of the knob is moving to the right. That moves my sight pin to the right. If I move my sight counterclockwise, the top is moving to the left. That moves my sight pin to the left. Again, results will vary depending on how much you're moving your sight and how much your groups will shift on the target. This is a very basic level, very cheap sight that is very easy to use, but it's not very precise. If I'm trying to put my mark at 2.55, I can't even tighten it down to stay still with one hand. There. I got lucky on that one. It's 2.55. Now this sight is very cheap, very inexpensive, and also very imprecise. The adjustments are very lax, they're very macro, and not very precise or controlled. On a tournament level sight, such as this one, there are knobs for the vertical adjustment and knobs for the horizontal adjustment. The graduations are much more fine, and there's lots of different features on this sight that I won't get into. But the general principle is the same. Follow the arrow depending on where you are. If I'm low, I can make a macro adjustment to move my sight down, and if I'm high, I can move it up. Now, if my groups are ever so slightly low, I can do this. I can turn these knobs that have micro detents and clicks, and each one of these clicks is a fraction of an inch. 1.5 thousandths of an inch each click. So that was 4.5 thousandths of an inch moving that sight pin down, which is basically nothing. But at a very high level in archery, those 3 clicks can make a huge difference in my score on this target here. This adjustment knob on the windage is just the same. It's still a knob, and when I turn the top of the knob to the right, it moves my sight pin to the right, move the sight pin to the left, I turn the top of the knob to the left. So it's really just that simple. If you need to move your groups, follow the arrows. If you don't know how to adjust your sight, it has graduations, or you can mark it with a pencil or a pen and then make some adjustments, watch the direction it moves, and then, because you've watched this video, you know that if you're grouping low, I move my sight pin down, now my group's in the middle, and I'm shooting a lot more arrows in the middle because I get to aim in the middle. It's a lot more fun to hit what you're aiming at instead of having to look or aim that far over there to make your arrows go in the middle. Why shouldn't we just aim in the middle and group in the middle at the same time? If you liked Archery Basics Explained, please comment below and let me know some other topics you'd like me to cover. Make sure you hit that subscription button and the notification bell down below. Also consider supporting this channel. I produce all this content for free for archers around the world to enjoy. I'm really just trying to make this channel a great resource to all types of archery, and your support genuinely helps this channel out and allows me to produce more content for free for more archers around the world to enjoy.